In this tutorial, we're going to go through the process of uh, uploading or importing raster data into QGIS. To do that, you have to open your QGIS application. Once it's open, of course, whether you have a vector map or open or not, it doesn't really matter. I'm working right now, so based on the prior tutorials, that's why this is open. But to open your raster data, go to the data source manager, click on that. This pop-up window opens. Go to raster data sets, this is name. Browse to the location of your raster data. Mine is here in raster. Open. These are the 4 raster data that I would want to open. You'll notice that once I click and then I click the next, it's just one that selects. But to select all of them at the same time, I can click on one, hold shift down on your keyboard, click on the next, and the next, and all 4 are selected. Alternatively, you can still hold shift down, press and hold within the folder, drag up, then drag so that it cuts across all of them, and then all of them are selected. So having selected that, press the open. They are all loaded here. To add them to your map window, you click add. Note that you must have selected raster. If you select a vector and then do that, it won't work because it's a raster data. So in order to load the raster data or add raster data to your QGIS, you must stipulate that it's a raster from this on this pane before you go into the browsing process to load the raster data. Now click add. It has been loaded. If you look at the layers pane here, the layers panel, you can see this data now is here. This one is here. This one is here. All 4 of them. So having done that, press close. Now you can see that you have the raster data here. There's a raster data set, and there are 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are perfectly aligned, but based on some color variations or tonal variations, you can still tell the difference. You can see where there's a line showing that there's an intersection between one and the other. You can zoom in to see more clearly. Click on this plus, hold outside, drag, and now you have it more clearly. Now, when we download this data, we download it for Anambra states. So where is the Anambra state? You can't really see the Anambra map because of course it's still there, but you can't see it because it's located under a raster data set, and in order to make it visible, you have to bring it to the top of the layers here between this field data and the raster data. So that's the only way you can see the vector data, which is below the raster. So scroll down, and this is Anambra state here. Hold and drag up. Keep going up, and then you can see the line there. That line, you let it go, and now you can see that Anambra state is now visible on top of the digital elevation model. Note that if you look at this digital elevation model now, this one, you see the numbers 17 to 563. What it means is that your data set has the height above sea level ranges from 17 meters above sea level to 563 meters above sea level. All of them have different intervals, 12 to 452, depending on the elevation of the site that the digital elevation model covers. And this one is -9, so this one is even below sea level, -9 to 268. So, but you can minimize, you can close these details by clicking on this drop down arrow just in front of the raster data, and then the all four can be seen clearly now. So having selected that, and now that you've seen the Anambra map right above the raster data, I want to also still be able to see the raster data below. Just have lines indicating Anambra State, but then you can see the raster data below. So to do that, I need to format the properties of the Anambra vector map so that it's transparent. So go back to Anambra, right click, go to properties. Now that you're in properties, make sure symbology is selected. Symbology, this one that looks like a well-designed paintbrush. Once it's clicked, you come here under fill, select simple fill. You can see that there's a variation as soon as you select simple fill. So once you select simple fill, you come here to make this Anambra map transparent. This is solid. The fill type is solid. So click on the drop down arrow, select no brush, no brush. Once you select no brush, you can see that there's a change here, but then you click apply and then watch what happens in the map window. Apply. So it's now transparent, you can see what's below, but then the idea is that since the color of the lines, the strokes in the polygon is black, and the raster data is basically black, you can hardly see the lines showing Anambra State and of course the local government in Anambra State. So you need to change that to make Anambra State still visible right on top of the raster data. So to do that, you have to format the color, the stroke color. So on that stroke color, which is black now, click on the drop down arrow, select red for instance, or any other color you want, but set red. If you press apply now, you'll see red showing up, the line showing up, and that's it. Well, I want to make the lines a bit thicker. So stroke width is what I need to format now. So it's 0.26 now, so I want to change it to 0.45. 45. Press apply again and then watch what happens in the map window. The lines become thicker. So having done that, you can now press OK. And now you have an Anambra map visible on top of the raster data. And of course, the raster data is still basically visible even though Anambra map is right on top of it. So having done this, the next stage will be to try to format this to kind of clip, merge, perform several raster operations. But I wouldn't want to run all of those operations based on Anambra map. I want to create another map that is rectangular in shape, encompassing the entire area of Anambra State while going somewhat beyond the boundaries, just like what we usually call a bounding box. So once I've run the analysis, I might still decide to retain Anambra State on top of it so that you can now see what is within Anambra State and what is beyond. I might also decide to clip that eventual map product with the Anambra map then and then have what is within Anambra State. But for now, I want to have my study area beyond Anambra boundary, regular shape. So to do that, it means I have to create another polygon. I think we've gone through the process of creating a polygon, so I will run through this rather fast. layer, create layer, uh, new shapefile layer, browse to location of the folder of the folder you want to create. Now this is the folder where I want to where my outputs here my outputs are. So type in a name. This time around I'll call it Anambra. Well, bounding box. Let me just use a BB, Anambra BB. So say save. Now I might decide to just leave it this way since I'm just trying to create something that will enable me to do some work, but I might decide to still add some extra fields. Let me just add maybe name, the length of the name. Let me make it 100. Then click add. Of course, the format, the type for me is a text. It can be any other format, but of course, text is what I'm working with for the name. So click on add field to field list. It's added. Click OK. When you click OK, it doesn't work. That's because there's something I haven't done. If you recall in the last tutorial when we talked about creation of a vector data, we had to define the geometry type, whether it's a point, a polygon, or a line. I haven't defined that as yet. That's why I couldn't really save. So click on the drop down. It's meant to be a polygon, so select polygon. And now you can say OK, and it goes. Now, if you see this, the icon of the file created, Anambra BB, you can see that it's a box, more like a polygon. Now, based on the fact that when I'm done with this, it will be larger than the Anambra map itself, I want to put it under the Anambra state map. Now that is done, right click, select toggle editing, come to this editing tools here. Ideally, for the last time we used the add polygon feature. In this case, since I needed something regular, it will be draw rectangle geometry. If I need something like a circle, click on the drop down arrow and then select oval. But for now, I need the rectangle. So click on that. Click on one corner because I want to encompass all of this, but not go too far away from the boundary. Let's say I decide to click on here because it's somewhat further away, larger. Click. Once you click, you now drag up towards where you want the other edge should be. I want to capture to cover all parts of Anambra State while not being too large beyond it. Now, this is basically about what I need in terms of size. Click again. Now that you've clicked, it gives you the dimension. You have the x-axis, which is basically the vertical is 0.8. The width, the x, is 0.847, whereas the height is 1.226. So say OK. Now the ID, 1, the name, can call it bounding box. Bounding, not bounding. Bounding box. Say OK. and now it's created. So that's the bounding box. As you can see, you can still see the outline of Anambra State right on top of it because I placed it on top of it. But then you can't really see it too well because uh, the box itself appears reddish. So having done that, it is this box that I'll eventually use to carve out a section of the raster data sets. Now, I want to also make this new raster layer, new vector layer transparent. But meanwhile, it's not yet done. So click on the save button here. Either I click on the save and then click on the toggle editing to end toggle editing, or you right click on the the layer and press save layer edits. Still does the same thing. Right click and then click on toggle editing again, and then it's no longer editable. Meanwhile, if you have saved this document, this work that you've done so far, click on this save button to save the current edits. Now, let's format this to make it transparent again. Right click, properties, simple fill, no brush, color. Let's change the color to something maybe dark brown. Let's play around this time around. We've been using this already made colors. Let's see what I can generate a new set of colors from this ring here. So let's say I want to generate something brownish here. Once I click on this, I can easily come down here and now select. If you whatever I click, you note that in the map window here, you see a variation in color. But I need something like dark brown so that it will be different from the original red of Anambra State and of course the black of the digital elevation model. So something darker. You can still move this way or that. You check how the color varies. Okay, let's leave it here and see what it looks like in the map. Now you have this, and that's supposed to be the stroke color. That's what you just formatted, the stroke color. Apply, and now you can see that it's roughly visible but not very visible. Let me make it thicker. Let's make it 0.50. Maybe make it a bit lighter. Okay, apply. Now it's more visible. Say okay. So now this is the map. This is the layer that I'll use to clip out the raster data, and of course the subsequent analysis will take place. So for now, I'll stop this tutorial to start again in another session. Thank you.